Next topic is arrays and functions. In this tutorial we'll learn how to pass array elements to a function and how to pass an entire array to a function. First, passing array elements to function. The array elements can be passed to a function by calling the function by value or by reference. This is similar to the function call we have learned in the last class. First one is called by value. In this method, the value of the array elements is passed to the function. Second one, called by reference. In this method, we are passing the address of the array elements to the function. Next, we will see an example for each one of these. Called by value. In this program, we are demonstrating how value of an array element can be passed to a function. So let's discuss about display function. The display function accepts an integer value as parameter and it uses printf function to display it in the output screen. In the main program, we have an integer array marks declared and initialized with a set of values. And we are using a for loop to access each element and call the display function to output the value of that element in the screen. So when the execution starts, the loop variable I set to 0. So the first loop, it calls the display function with the marks 0. Mark 0 is 55. So it passed the value 55 to the display function. Then the value of I increments and in the second iteration I become 1. So then it calls display function with the marks 1. Marks 1 is 65. So now the value 65 get passed to the display function and it continues and display all the 7 elements in the output screen. Next, call by reference. In this program we are demonstrating how the address of the element is passed to the function to display its value. So in this case we have the display function and the input parameter is an pointer variable. So it actually expects an address location as a parameter. And inside the printf function, it displays the value at that address. So display function accepts an address value. So now we will see the main function. Inside the main, we have the marks array, which is declared as integer array and initialized with the 7 values. Now, using the for loop, we are accessing each element in the array. But instead of passing the value, we are passing the address of that location. So we are calling the display function with ampersand marks and in bracket we have the index location. For example, if the value of I is 0, it calls the display function with address of marks 0. So that is the address location of first element in the array. If the value of I is 2, then it calls the display function with ampersand marks 2. So 2 is the third element in the array. That means the address of third element in the array is passed to the display function. So in call by value, we are passing the value as it is available in the array, whereas in call by reference, we are passing the address location of the each element in the array to the function. That's the difference between call by value and call by reference method. Now we will see how to pass an entire array to function. In many scenarios, we would require passing an entire array to a function instead of calling the function for each and every variable or each and every values. For example, let's say we have a function to sort 10 elements in ascending order. That means the function requires 10 numbers to be passed as the actual parameters from the main function. So here, instead of declaring 10 different numbers and then passing into the function, we can declare and initialize an array and pass that into the function. This will resolve all the complexity since the function will now work for any number of values. How do we do that? The array name contains the address of the first element. So here we need to pass only the name of the array in the function which is intended to accept an array. The array defined as formal parameter will automatically refer to the array specified by the array name defined as actual parameter. So the syntax to pass an array to the function is function name and in bracket we give the array name. And if we have other arguments, we can also supply those arguments to the function. And how do we declare the function? We can declare a function that receives an array as an argument. So we'll have the return type, function name, and we specify the array name without giving the size. And we have to give the type of that array name. Now we will see an example program to see how an array can be passed to a function. So in this program we are trying to find the smallest element in array using function. First let's go through the min array function. Min array function has two input parameters, an integer array and an integer value which denotes the size of the array. And this function returns the data type int. Okay, now inside the function we have two variables min and I. Both are integer data type. The min variable is initialized as array of 0, that is the first element in the array. The element at position 0 is assigned as min and I is initialized as 0. That's the starting position of the array. So the logic is we assume the first element in the array has the minimum value, and then we go through the array and to see if there is another minimum value. Okay, if we are finding a new smaller value than the minimum value, then we are assigning that value to the min variable. So inside the loop, for I equal to 1, we are starting from the second data element and I less than size. Then if array of I, that is the value at that position, is less than min. If it is less than the value currently in the min variable, then min equal to array of I. So we have this array 4, 5, 7, 3, 8, 9. These are the values in the array. So first while starting the execution, min has the value 4, that is the value at the position 0. Now it starts from I equal to 1. So next it will check array of 1. At position 1 the value is 5. 5 less than minimum value is 4. It is false. Next it will check whether 7 is less than min. False. Next it checks I become 3 and it will check the value at the fourth position, that is 3. 3 less than 4. True. Then minimum is assigned as 3. Then it will check the next data element, that is 8. Is 8 less than 3? False. 9 less than 3? False. So we have compared all the elements inside the array, and min has the value 3, that is the smallest element in the array, and this value is returned after the loop execution. So now in the main program, in the calling program, what we have is we have an integer array numbers which is initialized as set of values 4, 5, 7, 3, 8, 9. There are 6 values, and we are calling the function min array with this array and the number of data elements in the array. So we are passing min array numbers comma 6. These are the argument passed from the main function. The value returned by this function is stored in the variable min. So that's a variable declared in the main function. So while passing the array, we are not specifying anything in the square brackets. We are just giving the array name and the size of the array. Once the function is executed, the minimum value is returned, and that minimum value is captured in the min variable, and which will be printed in the output screen. So in this tutorial we have learned how to pass individual data elements from an array to a function, and how to pass an entire array to a function.